Hey guys, it's another edition of No Time for Nonsense. I'm your host, Bill Vinci. I'm running solo tonight. My son is working at the fire station, so it's just me and special guest Nathan Paetsch. Nathan, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm great. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for joining us. I know you had a crazy day today, and we're actually Nathan's actually filming from inside a cider mill or what is it?
Cidery, yeah.
A cider mill.
Yep.
So
Yeah. So my friend owns a cidery, and I just happened to finally get the kids dinner, and this was the closest place I could pull over. And he was fortunately he let me get inside to be able to film this.
Absolutely, man. We're glad to have you be a part of our show tonight. Before we get started and hear Nate's story, I want to thank our sponsors for tonight's show. We got a couple of them. First, we want to thank Joey's at 307 in Utica, New York. Matt Grabsky's got some of the best food anywhere around. Some of his unique dishes he makes. He's got all the Fra Diavos. He's got all the Marcella sauces, the franceses. He's got some of the best antipasto. Definitely want to give Matt a call. Matt Grabsky in Utica, New York. He's on Mohawk Street, and you can reach out to him at 315. Yeah, you know what? Why did I give you the wrong number? I didn't want to do that. You got to call him at 733-5060. And then also our ex-sponsor is Geddes Bakery in Syracuse, New York. Some of the freshest donuts, pastries, breads. They got a little bit of Greek, a little Italian, the spanakopita, the baklava, and the Pappas family are fantastic. Two of our big sponsors of the show. Definitely reach out to Geddes if you want to put an order in. And they're at 315-437-8084. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring tonight's show. So we're with Nathan Paetsch, former NHL, played with the Sabres, played with the Columbus, Rochester. If you have any questions for him, message us on the board, and I'll get them over to him, and he can answer you. So, Nathan, I want to start out, man. You're a Canadian kid, huh?
Yes, originally from Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan. Yep. Okay. Yep. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Canada and playing hockey as a kid.
I come from a small town, so my hometown was roughly anywhere fluctuated from 400 to 500 people roughly growing up. So a super small hockey community. It's kind of the type of community where everybody, it's like Texas in football. Everybody plays football. Right. Where I come from, everybody, if you just played hockey, like everybody plays hockey until a certain level. And then unfortunately you have to move because the numbers are just not there once you get to a little higher age group. Mm-hmm. So I just pretty much slept, eat, breathed, all that kind of stuff, hockey all day long. And it was nice. You had that community feel. And, you know, I still I live in Rochester, but I live out in the suburbs in a smaller, more country type community that, you know, you have that type of community.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is hockey, you know, when you're talking Texas with football and stuff, Canada, I mean, is it as big as we hear as growing up? I mean, are you playing all the time as a kid?
I mean, well, so the problem is I was not going to say my age a little, but when I started out, it was natural ice.
Uh-huh.
So no, you didn't play. So now it's turned into a 12-month-a-year game. That's not the case anymore. That wasn't the case back then, just because we had natural ice.
Right.
I remember in between periods, actually skating around a bucket of hot water, and that's how we flooded the ice. Wow. Or if we didn't flood, we'd scrape, and there'd be like 3 rows of people. You had this big wide wooden thing, and you'd scrape the ice. So I was probably 7 or 8 when we got a non-natural ice, whatever you want to call it, what normal ice now. I don't know the word. Yeah. So that it wasn't at 12. We played a different sports, which I think is still important for young kids now. You got to play every sport. I don't think hockey should be a 12-month-year sport. It's not healthy for kids.
Right. I say the same thing with like baseball and stuff. I mean, you could throw out your arm, wear out your arm, man. You got to. Yeah. I played 3 sports in school, and to me, your body, it just develops a lot better than playing one sport where the repetition is that you're doing the same thing over and over again. Did you play any other sports in high school growing up?
I played everything. So growing up, I played everything. Once I got to high school, I was basically playing professional hockey. So Canada, you go to junior hockey. So I moved into AAA midget was almost like people moved from all around to play that. So I was 15 when I did that, and I was able to do track and stuff at the end of the season. But by the time I was 16, I was playing major junior hockey, which is really kind of comparable to pro hockey.
Yeah.
But before that, I played everything. I played I actually really love badminton. I played volleyball. I played basketball. I played baseball in the summers. I mean, any sport that was available to me, I did.
That's it. And I, I talk to kids, a lot of kids today. I still coach basketball now, and it's amazing how when I talk to the kids at the beginning of the season, when we're going through the trials, I go, "Did you guys practice or play all year?" "No, we haven't picked up a basketball since the season ended." I go, "Now that's crazy to me." I mean, we used to, growing up, I'm a little older than you, so we used to leave the house at 9 in the morning, get on our bikes. We'd maybe go play basketball for a couple hours. Then we might go play a little football. Then we might go play screen ball or home run derby. We'd come back at dinner time. So we were doing something, all day, every day when you could.
I was the same way. I mean, I grew up in a small town. It's not like you could go anywhere. You just played sports with your friends. That's all you did.
Right.
And it's unfortunate with this. You call it screen time now. I have 2 kids. I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old, and we're constantly fighting that whole screen time thing. It's frustrating, but we obviously limit everything, and like our kids, they go outside, and I say go play, and they're like, "Well, what are we gonna do?" Like,
right,
what do you mean? What are you gonna do? Go be a kid. Like,
yeah.
I don't remember going to my parents being like, "What am I gonna do outside?" You just figured it out. But I mean, you got to move with the times.
Times are changed. I know. I used to say it when my son was younger. They would be texting with their friends on the phone like for hours. I go, "Why don't you just go hang out at their house? Why don't you go meet in the park?" And then it is.
Yeah.
Times have changed. It's amazing how different it is. And I'm always trying to push kids outside and instead of texting on the phone for 2 hours, just go hang out with them for a couple hours.
Just talk. Like, people don't know how to make eye contact anymore. It's sad as it's, you talk to kids and they're awkward in a normal conversation.
Right. So it's crazy. I know. Like I said, times have changed, and I guess we try to get them out of it. But after you play at 16 years old, you won some pretty prestigious awards. I mean, you were what, the Defensive Player of the Year at 16?
For my major junior team. 16, 17. I won Rookie of the Year. Maybe 17. I won that. Yeah.
Wow.
Early bloomer.
You were a late bloomer, and then 2000, and then you were drafted 52nd pick overall by Washington in 2001. But what happened with that contract and stuff?
So it was a weird time. So what happened is, it's a longer story. I'll shorten it up. But basically, Washington kind of got into financial issues, and with Yager and all that, they spent a whole ton of money, and then they didn't end up winning. So they kind of were cutting budgets left and right, and I kind of fell into that wayside. So before, there used to be really big signing bonuses, and that rule's changed since then. But as a second rounder, I would have been due for a lot of guaranteed money, and they just weren't making that commitment. And they didn't feel I was worth that type of money at that time. So unfortunately, I had to go back in the draft. It happened really fast because they're going to sign me, and all of a sudden, boom, this happened to them within, like, we're talking 2 days. So they didn't even have time to trade me.
Right.
And then I had to go back in the draft, and I was redrafted by Buffalo. So it worked. Everything works out. It all worked out great. So.
Yeah. So when you got drafted by Buffalo, what were your emotions like when you got picked by them? Were you excited to come to Buffalo?
So my 2 draft stories were a little different. So my first draft story, I was at the draft. My name got called. I went down. I met everybody. I went up to the big press box, all that kind of stuff. My second draft, I was working at Sport Check as a salesman.
Really?
So Sport Check is like Dick's Sporting Goods.
Okay.
So essentially, I was a salesman at Dick's Sporting Goods, but Sport Check is Canada. And I was just working. I was helping out a customer, and all of a sudden, the loudspeaker manager goes, "Hey, Nathan, you just got drafted."
No kidding.
So that's how I heard about
getting
drafted by the Buffalo Sabres.
Wow.
So not what you probably expect.
No, yeah, exactly. I know. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's kind of a different story. I've never heard that one before. Imagine getting your call loudspeaker, you're drafted by the Buffalo Sabres.
That's exactly how I heard. I was in the back, and the manager must have been in the office. And they knew I was probably going to get drafted, so they were probably sitting there refreshing. But I was at work. I had to work.
Right. So you weren't even able to see it on TV.
No, I had no idea.
That's funny. So 2005, 2006, your first NHL game for Buffalo, and you recorded a point in that game.
Yeah, that was cool. That was
How
another
cool was
actually
that?
crazy story. So what happened is I played in Binghamton the night before, and then we had an afternoon game in Toronto. So I was in the AHL, of course. So we bussed all night. I want to say Binghamton, Toronto. What do you think? That's 5 hours?
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, so we probably got in, 7th, we probably got in at 2, 3 in the morning. And we're supposed to have a 1 o'clock game in Toronto the next day. It was a Saturday game.
Uh-huh.
So I woke up, I went down for breakfast, and Randy Kynorth was my coach. He's like, so how are you feeling? I'm like, well, I slept 2 hours. I feel pretty good. He's like, yeah, so how do you feel about playing your first NHL game? I'm like, what?
Wow.
He's like, yes. Yeah, somebody's going to come pick you up in 2 hours. You're going to drive to Buffalo, and you're going to play your first NHL game. So obviously I was too excited to sleep.
Right.
So I had somebody pick me up in Toronto at their hotel, drove me to Buffalo. I think I ate some pasta or something. I tried to lay down for an hour or two, or an hour. I think I only had, and then I went to the rink, and that was my experience. My first NHL game. It was just like a complete 2-hour sleep whirlwind.
Wow.
But running on adrenaline, it's every kid's dream, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say that had to be so cool to turn around that quick. You're playing, like you said, you're in Binghamton the night before. Next day, you're on your way to Buffalo playing your first NHL game.
It was almost better because I didn't have time to overthink it.
True. Yeah. Absolutely. So I got to ask you this: playing in Buffalo. Now, I'm a big Sabres. I'm a Sabres fan. Me and my son are big Sabres. I've been a Sabres fan since probably 1975. So I've seen all the good and bad. But how is it playing in front of Buffalo fans? When you guys are winning? Is it as crazy as it looks on TV, the fans?
I was so fortunate. The time I was there was incredible.
Yeah.
My first season, we won the President's Trophy.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure we were sold out every single game that season. I could be wrong. I could be misquoting, but if not, we were very close. So playing in front of those fans is incredible. And we kind of rode that momentum the whole time I was there. And I was very fortunate, and hopefully I strongly believe they'll get back there. And it was special. Fans, this COVID thing's unfortunate because I know they're talking about no fans, but that's part of the heart. That's the heart of sports.
Yeah.
That's the emotion. That's what you feed on.
Yeah, absolutely. I know they've been talking about with baseball. If baseball comes back, they may not play with fans there. And I just can't even imagine a stadium empty and watching a game on TV, especially hockey, because to me, there's not a better playoff setting than NHL. The crowd is so much.
Nothing compares.
Baseball, but yeah, hockey by far is. Even if you're not a hockey fan, a lot of people watch the playoffs just because it's the most exciting sport.
I want to say anybody that goes to a live hockey game turns into a fan. I know a lot of people aren't fans of hockey and stuff, but I've never heard a person go to a live hockey game and be like, "Oh, that wasn't that much fun."
Yeah.
It's just something that that's the thing with fans in hockey. Like, you're part of it. You're part of something. Like, fans are literally affect games because they're right there, and the noise affects games.
Yeah. That's it's amazing. Now you spend a lot of time in Rochester with was it with the Americans or the Amerks? What were you?
It's Americans, Amerks. Amerks is just kind of a nickname, but it's the same thing.
Okay, so how was it playing in Rochester?
It's weird. So I started out here. I was drafted by Buffalo. Their farm team was Rochester. I played here for 3 years and then went all around with my career. And then I've been back here for 3 years now.
Yep.
But I met my wife here, so this has been home for a long time.
Okay. Oh,
so
okay.
Rochester is home. So that's why I'm finishing out my career here. I'm just riding out into the sunset, sailing off to the sunset at home, essentially.
Yeah, I was going to say, now you're like probably the veteran of the team right now. So how is it dealing with some of the young kids just coming into the system and stuff? You got to be a big help to them.
Well, that's essentially my job. That's why I'm still around. I'm more of a mentor, player development type player that I work with these young guys, kind of share my experience and everything. So I think I've played 17 years. I'm actually oldest on the team. I was the oldest in the league last year.
Wow. Okay.
The league's getting young.
What are you, 34 maybe? 35?
Thank you. I'm 37.
Are you 37 now? Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Time flies.
Still, God bless you. You're still playing.
Thank you. But I mean, that's what I'm here. I'm not here for my game or something. I'm here to help the other guys. And I love it. Like it's so fulfilling to maybe think you helped a kid that goes and plays. I get to watch them play their first NHL game, the Sabres, and then text them and they, I love it. I love seeing their dreams come true. And I'm just hoping that I'm helping out to help them accomplish that.
Right.
And it's very different from doing yourself, but it's very fulfilling. And I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I was going to say, whenever Rochester comes to Utica, and if I do go to the game, I'll wear my Sabres hat. I'll get harassed by the Utica crowd for wearing I said, but I'm a Sabres fan, man. This is our future. These are our future players. So it's fun when you guys come up to Utica and play. How is it playing in Utica when you guys come up?
It's a fun atmosphere. So I mentioned before we got on here that I actually played the conference finals there, and it was, Utica fans, even the regular season can be intimidating. Conference finals was something else.
That's when they had the whiteout, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was like they were on top of us.
Yeah,
Jacob Markstrom was the goalie there, and it's like there was no solving him, and the fans just fed off it. In our power play, we just couldn't score, and Markstrom just kept making save after save, and the fans were just screaming. And like you say, fans were a part of it. They 100% were a huge part in that series. They helped that team. I mean, they had a great team. Don't get me wrong. But it was very intimidating as a visiting team to go into that atmosphere.
Utica probably has one of the best fan bases out of the AHL?
I would think yes, absolutely. I mean, capacity-wise, they probably are number one. Obviously, there's bigger buildings that probably do more numbers, but I got to think Utica's right up there.
Okay. Because I've never been to another AHL stadium besides Utica, and it just seems like sometimes they'll put the games on TV when Utica's away, and I'll go, it doesn't even seem loud at some of the places they play at.
Yeah, no, it's not as loud. Definitely not. Syracuse is pretty similar.
Right. I have been to Syracuse.
They're older, smaller buildings. Yeah, it can be very loud. I mean, I played playoff games there too. That's extremely loud. So you get the smaller buildings and you pack them. And it's like the fans right on the ice.
Right on top. Yeah. I was going to say. Now, we were talking a little bit before about the show I do with Empire Plate and how I travel all over New York eating for a living. Obviously, I'm on
What a job.
It's a great job. I get to eat. I get to drink. I get to meet people, thousands of people all over. So being on a 3.5-month layoff, because with everything being shut down, that we started this podcast, and this is what we're doing now. But you got to hook me up. Tell me a couple good places to eat in the Rochester area where you're at. Where's some of your favorites?
Well, my wife's favorite by far, and we go to a restaurant called Good Luck, and they do a lot of they have their own garden right off the back, so they do a lot of fresh foods, but their menu is always kind of rotating, and that's us. Like, you feel like you have a different experience every time you go there.
Yeah.
So that would be
change. Does the menu kind of change with the season?
Yes. Yeah, because it's all fresh food. That's stuff they grow in the garden. So their menu 100% changes with the season. So I'm a fan. And then obviously where I'm at right now, Blue Toad Cidery. If you ever needed a cider, they do light stuff and like that. Stop on by there. It's getting bigger and bigger, especially with these light ones. I prefer.
Yep.
And so I'm a big fan, and I know it's blowing up.
That's something I'm definitely gonna have to check out. I'll have to get the name and number from you after we're done with the show. When you were with Buffalo and you came up to the NHL, who were some of the Sabre players that kind of took you under the wing, like you're doing with some of the young kids now at Rochester? Who are some of those NHL players that kind of called you in with the Sabres?
Well, I was pretty fortunate. We had such great leadership. You look at guys like Danny Briere and Chris Drew are both our captains. And I mean, they were both so amazing to me, but it wasn't about even taking me under the wing. It was just about looking at how they acted. I mean, the way how those guys were just like, they're special. They were special among special people. Right. Because they were they were the best of the best, but it wasn't like neither of them were big. Neither of them were like obviously Danny was super talented. Chris was talented, but like they were just so good because of who they were as people. Right. And such incredible role models. And so to be able to kind of just follow along and be around them was incredible. And they were also great to me. Like, these are the type of people you could text and they text you right back. I mean, I was very lucky. I mean, I could go on forever and ever. And you had Teppo Newman, Henrik Tallender, who I actually, unfortunately, because of this COVID, Henrik Tallender, I usually get together every summer still to this day. And you talk about probably the most underrated player that maybe played for the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah.
Nobody really talks about him, but anybody that played against him will say during those times, he's one of the most elite defensemen in the NHL.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I go back to some of the great scores they had with like McGillney and Chatan and LaFontaine and those guys, watching them. But Buffalo's always had some great, and now with Jack Eichel there, they've always had some big time scores coming through Buffalo. Yeah. The last couple of years though have been such a, every year we get so excited. We say this is going to be the year where we break that streak. We're going to make the playoffs. We're starting to put the pieces together. And the last couple of years, they've started off great, and then they've kind of hit a wall. And it's just – so what do you think they need to get over that hump to get to that next level?
I think they're putting all the right pieces together. It's going to happen. I mean, obviously interact with the guys that get called up, and they say nothing but great things about Ralph Kruger. I've heard he's just an incredible leader, incredible coach. And I think – and so before – I want to say like 3-4 years ago, you're getting players like, we're not too happy to be here. Now you look to see Pallet Poster just came out, all these people coming out like, we love Buffalo, we love being here, we love playing for Ralph. Like, It's going to happen. Like, I just hope fans are patient. It's difficult. It's hard. I've been so lucky in my career. I haven't really dealt with a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And I know it's probably really difficult for the fans. These are really diehard, passionate fans. But I truly believe it's right there. They're right on the cusp, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, I'm more upstate New York. So, I mean, we squeeze our Buffalo Sabres as much as anybody. But I know in Buffalo, it's between the Bills. I mean, you really only got the Bills and the Sabres there. So, you don't have the baseball team. You don't have the football teams or the NBA team. So they really invest a lot of time into those two organizations. So I don't know I don't know what the fans think up there. It seems like a lot of them are getting frustrated, but like you said, I think we're just a couple pieces away from being a really good team to get to that next level.
I think what fans need to understand is that I know there's been a lot of disappointment stuff, but I've been around hockey for my whole life, been in pro hockey for a long time, and I truly believe in the people that are leading now. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. And these are good people. And I think that's the biggest. Remember, I've been in a couple championship teams, and I always start with good people. And the people that are running everything now are good people, they're smart people, and their heart is in the right place. So it's going to happen. I solely believe that.
Yeah, that's key. Obviously, like you said, having the organization with the right people in there, it's going to make a difference. And they'll bring in the right pieces and draft the right way. And so we're looking forward to it. It's too bad they couldn't sneak into that playoffs this year. I know. They kind of missed out on that. So what do you think is going to happen with this playoff that they're putting together now?
It's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm a fan too, so I'm excited to watch. It's a weird dynamic because you got guys that maybe skated, guys that didn't train, guys that couldn't train.
Yeah.
It's tough. But you also – here's the exciting thing. You're going to have the healthiest rosters to start that I'm sure you've ever had.
Right.
So you're going to see all the big names. Everybody's going to be going.
Yeah. Do you think you could see a lot of injuries, though, happening, especially with a layoff like this?
Obviously, the risk is there. I mean, that's –
yeah.
But these guys are pros. This is what we do for a living.
Right.
I memean – I work out almost every day. I mean, they work out every day. It's training camps are hard to begin with.
Yeah.
Normally. So you got to love maybe more groin pulls and stuff like that. And it's going to be playoffs are at such an amped up level. There's going to run the risk of that, but you're also going to have all these guys that are fresh and healthy that haven't gone through the grind of the 82 season, 82 game season. Sorry. So the speed's going to be fast. It is. Guys are going to be going.
Yeah,
so I was excited as a fan. You have to be excited about this.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like you said, everybody's coming in healthy. You know, you're not going to hit that wall. Everybody's going to be fresh, and you're going to see some really good hockey games in short time. So, looking forward to that. Just looking forward to get back in motion and watching the games. And I think everybody's I was excited to see even golf on today.
Me too. Love golf.
Yeah, and I even did a fantasy team for the thing. I went on DraftKings. I picked my 6 golfers, and we'll see if we could do my fantasy football and basketball and hockey and everything else. So this is kind of a nice little to start things off. We're with Nathan Paetsch. If you guys are just joining us, great story. Been around, like you said, 17 years. A lot of time in the NHL with Rochester, and now he's one of the veterans of the league, and he's helping all the young kids come up and big inspiration to them. Hey, talk about. I want to hear who your first goal was against.
So my first goal was kind of cool. So my first goal was so growing up in Canada, all you ever did on Saturday night, everybody got around and watched Hockey Night in Canada. That's like religion where I come from.
Yep.
Everybody sat in the living room, watched whatever game was on. And luckily enough, I scored my first goal in Toronto on Hockey Night in Canada on Saturday night.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So I can remember to this day, I was going in on a rush. Danny Breer hit me late, joined the rush. I shot it, I believe, wide. I think I missed the net, and it hit the goalie's knob and deflected back into the net. But it was also a huge relief because it was in, I want to say, March of the season, regular season. I was probably already played 50 games. I hadn't had a goal yet, so it was a huge monkey off my back.
Yeah, I needed to get that first one in. You know what I wanted to ask you now, being a defenseman stuff, are you a fighter?
I used to fight more than I should have. Was never good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I was young. I mean, I haven't in quite a few years. I'm not that interested in it anymore, to be honest with you. I got young kids, and I've had enough lost teeth and root canals and all that. But yeah, when I was younger, I mean, there wasn't too many games that went by that I didn't get in a fight when I played Syracuse.
Now we got a kid from Rome here who spent a little time in the NHL, the AHL, and Tommy Sestito.
Yeah. I got a story about him.
So,
Tommy Sestito was coming in as a rookie. I didn't know who he was. I was with the Sabres as my second or third year, whatever it was. And him and Jared Bull were running around. It was the first exhibition game. Back then, first exhibition game and NHL games were kind of a gong show. So those two were trying to make a statement, and they were running around just hammering guys. And I went after Bull, and I dropped my mitts, and me and Bull got squared off. And we're about to throw a punch, and then all of a sudden, Sestito just ran us both over. And nothing ever happened. And I have to still thank him to this day because I ended up getting traded to Columbus knowing Bull, and he probably would have knocked. He was way out of my league. I didn't know who he was, though. So, I mean, I was just doing my job at the time. I was going to fight him, and Bull ended up being knocked us both over, and nothing ever happened. So that was my first encounter with him.
That's funny. Yeah, Tommy's a Rome kid. His brother Timmy played with Albany and with the Devils, two local guys. Yeah, that's funny. Tommy's been a great fighter. I mean, he's a very skilled player too. You know, a lot of people just say he just goes out there and he's a goon. And unfortunately, talking about goons, and we've had him on the show about a month ago, is Rob Ray.
Yeah, I saw you had Razor on. Yeah.
Razor was on. We have Marty Buron on a couple weeks after that. So it was good to hear those stories. But, Rob Ray, I mean, did you get a chance to play with him?
No. So when I started playing, Razor was the color. I want to say that might have been his first year color, my first year.
Oh, it was. Okay.
I think so. But he was doing it anyways, or not color. So he was in between the benches.
Yes.
But
yeah. Okay.
And he does color now a bit too, right?
Yes. You know what's funny is a funny story when we had Marty on and we were talking I asked him if he ever got in a fight, and he said he did. Got in a fight.
I played in that game.
Were you in that game?
Yeah, I was in that game. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I do remember it, but I didn't remember. Like, so I went back to YouTube it after we got done with the show, and I'm watching it, and both coaches are going at it, and Rob Ray's in the middle, just looking at both coaches, and I'm cracked. I wish I saw that video before the Razor interview to say, what are you thinking? Because he's just looking. They're hanging off the edges, ready to kill each other. Was that pretty insane, that fight?
Yeah, that whole thing was pretty crazy. It was, I kind of wish I would have been on the ice for it. We didn't know really how it was going to turn out, and we ended up having our two top defensemen out there who shouldn't have been. It should have been me and somebody else out there.
Right.
And we just didn't really catch on. And Tallender and Ludman are out there, and there are two number one deep pairings. So they shouldn't have been out there with the fourth line in that situation, unfortunately. So I remember watching it all, and it's entertaining. I know anybody I talk to still talks about it to this day. They live for one. And obviously PD fighting Emery was such a big story. And
Yep.
And how Emery hung in there with PD was one of the toughest guys in the league at the time.
Yeah. That was a great fight. That was, just listening to the announcers and stuff, and I'm watching the coaches hanging out. And I remember it. Now, once I saw, like, oh my God, I do remember that, but I didn't realize how close they were. Rob standing in the middle of it, just looking at both guys, and I go, man, he would have probably thrown both of them into the ice. And Rob was fun to watch. He was good to watch. Now, I want to ask you this: being a veteran at 37, we actually kind of talked about this a little bit quick before you came on. Do you have plans on now? You're doing a little coaching right now.
Yeah, so I coached my son's team. I coached my son's team last year while I was still playing. I just kind of built the schedule around how much I could be there. He was squirt minor last year. This year he's squirt major, and he's a AAA team, and I'm the head coach again this year. We're actually the junior Americans.
Okay.
So we play Utica and all that. And we'll be out there. We'll probably be in Utica playing games. I'll be coaching there.
That's cool. Yeah, I'll have to make sure I get a hold of it and come down and check that out. Yeah, and we were talking about you.
We played Utica. Yeah. Yeah, we were in Utica last year. We played it. The kids got to play in the big rink, so that was one of the highlights for the kids last year.
Okay. Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'll definitely have to come down and check it out if you guys come to town and see that. A couple things, Nate, I want to go over quick with you. Who was your favorite team as a kid growing up?
I was an Edmonton Oilers fan. So I grew up in Saskatchewan, and Gretzky was there. They were in their heyday. So I was Edmonton's the closest to where I live. And so my whole family was diehard Oilers fans. And I was lucky. What a time to be a diehard Oilers fan. Yeah,
exactly. I know. That's awesome. Who was your favorite player to watch as a kid?
I loved Wayne Gretzky. I know I'm a defenseman, and I should probably pick a defenseman, but my team had the best player, in my opinion, in the history of the game. So, and I was always a passer as a D-man, so I just loved, his mind was just above. He was so special, and to be able to grow up in that generation and have that player on my home team, it was just, it was I still have his jersey hanging in my basement. He signed one for me, so
that's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. What's your favorite arena to play in the NHL?
When's the rest of your pitch coming?
NHL or AHL?
NHL.
NHL was in Montreal. So in Montreal, when you're coming out there, it was the Coldplay song. They dropped the Coldplay right when you'd step out, and it was so cool. And they have all the lights going, and the atmosphere in Montreal is just, I don't know. There's nothing that ever really could replace that as a road team. Obviously, home teams are incredible, but a regular season game, Montreal was. I think a lot of people would agree with me. Anybody that played in the NHL would probably say the same thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Who are some of your favorite coaches growing up? Some of those guys that you'd say, man, thank God I had this guy as a coach. Who are a couple of your big inspirational coaches you had?
Well, I had my dad pretty much most of my childhood, so definitely have to say my dad, and hopefully my son feels the same way that now I'm his coach. So my dad coached me all the way up to 13. So He was a huge influence in my life. He was dad, but he was probably coach first sometimes, most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was so lucky. I came up with so many in pro hockey. I had so many amazing coaches. I came into pro with Randy Cunworth and also Doug Huda was my D coach, and they really took me under their wing. And I would have never made it without those. They were in my corner the whole time. And they really pushed for me. And then I got to the NHL. I got to play for Lindy Ruff, who's you don't stay in the same organization for so long if you're not a special coach. So that was my NHL experience. For the most part, he was pretty much my NHL coach the whole time.
Yeah.
And then back in the AHL, I've had great coaches, but at a different time period I'm a little older, so we had a different relationship. I had Jeff Blashill, and then I had Todd Nelson, very elite AHL coaches, and I was lucky to have them. So I've been very, very spoiled when it comes to coaches throughout my whole career. Yeah,
that's Lindy Ruff. I to this day, he's definitely my all-time favorite Sabres coach. I love watching. I mean, he was intense when he had to be, but he was a player's coach.
Yeah,
At least from the fans' standpoint, he seemed like a player's coach, which but like you said, when he got heated,
he's very passionate. Yeah, he was also very innovative. So probably what fans don't know, like the year I won the President's Trophy, I think we were a little ahead of the curve system-wise. Everybody plays the stuff we were doing then, but I think Lindy was a little ahead of it, and I think our team was so successful because some of the things he coached and had set up in our systems was a little ahead of people, and I think we won games because of it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So a lot of people, I like to ask this question because a lot of people, we see you guys on TV, we're fans of you guys, but what does Nathan Paetsch like to do in his spare time?
I like to fish.
Like to fish?
I like to fish, yeah.
You must have some great spots out where you are.
Yeah, there's lots. We're like, I mean, growing up in Saskatchewan, obviously spoiled up there, but around here you got all the Finger Lakes, you got everything, and that's kind of like I can go fish for 8 hours and feel like it's 10 minutes. That's fine. I know a lot of people like to golf. I enjoy golfing, but it's not quite the same. Fishing, I can just lose myself.
Yeah, that's your thing, huh? You got spare time. Well, you know what? We are coming down to the wire here with Nathan Paetsch, but things get a little tougher now. Now, you probably spent a little time in the penalty box playing, right?
Yeah.
So now you're going to be entering the penalty box with our show. And I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and you're going to tell us the first thing that comes to your mind. You don't have to rush into it, just something that fits the question. All right?
I feel like you're my wife right now trying to get me in trouble.
It's not going to be that bad. Everybody gets nervous, but it's fun. All right. First question. Favorite meal?
Steak.
Certain kind?
I'm a T-bone steak type guy.
T-bone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cooked by me.
Cooked
I like
by
to cook
you?
my own steak. Yeah. I love to cook. So
that's big. On the grill?
Yeah, grill. I mean, I like to cook all sorts of things, but I do prefer the grill if I can.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite musician or singer?
I really like Mumford & Sons.
Okay.
Big fan of their band. Garth Brooks also. Grew up diehard Garth Brooks guy. More recent, I would say Mumford & Sons, that style. I like Eric Church too.
Okay. So, you got a little country in you then, huh?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in Saskatchewan. I mean, that's what we listen to, man. Yeah.
Next question. If there was one player you had a chance to play with, who would it be?
Wayne Gretzky.
Play with Wayne, yeah.
Oh.
How cool would that have been?
Oh, man. So cool. Come on. I mean, he coached, so I played for the Sabres. He was the coach at Arizona. I don't know if they were Arizona or Phoenix at that time, or the Coyotes, and he was a coach. And I remember skating by and we're like, this is so surreal. Like,
right.
This guy's coaching against me? Like, come on.
Yeah, that's got to be really cool. I just forget about that he was coaching there. You just don't even think about it, but that's right.
Yep.
That's right. What's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you at a game?
Oh, geez. Craziest thing that's ever happened.
Like Rob Ray said, a guy was coming over the box at the coach, and Rob grabbed him off and pulled him on the ice, and you say pound them about 16 times, and I go, oh, Jesus.
I mean, my stories can never compare to Razor because, first of all, he comes from a different generation. And I know some of when I was coming up, some crazy stuff happened. One crazy thing that did happen to me, I got a skate come right across my face, sliced my face. But I was in Germany, playing in Germany at the time. And I was in Augsburg, Germany. And I get off the ice. It's not quite as professional in certain times. Back then, too, it was a little worse. I get off, and obviously my face is cut open. And the doctor's just sitting there, and he's looking at me. He's like, and broken English, like, oh, it's so bad. Oh, this is the doctor supposed to zip me up. He's like, it's so bad. What happened? I see your bone. I'm like, you gotta stitch me up. Like, he's like, oh. I'm like, you're a doctor. You're not supposed to react like that.
Oh,
and my GM's beside me, and he's translating. He's like, just sew him up. And I'm like, sew me up so I can go play again. He's like, oh, no, this is gross. Can't play again. Can't play. No play.
Oh, my God.
And he sewed me up. Of course, I went and played. I mean, that's what we do. But his reaction was the worst. I was like, this can't be happening to me.
Yeah, definitely not to put you at ease by any means.
Yeah.
Wow. That's gross. All right, so if you had a penalty shot, situation, who would that one goalie be that you'd like to put the puck past? You had a chance to any goalie.
Jeez.
No.
But, I mean, Marty Brodeur was the man when I was around. I've got to say it'd be pretty cool to score on Marty Brodeur in a penalty shot. Yeah. I mean, my last NHL goal was against Carey Price, so that was pretty special.
Oh, yeah.
So that I always kind of tell my son about that because he watches. He's never seen me play in the NHL, so he doesn't think. They don't care. I'm just dad, you know.
Right.
Then I told him I scored on Carey Price. It's like, what? No.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I got to see Brodeur when he was in Utica, when we had the Utica Devils here back in the day. So, he was something to watch. Boy, he was – I mean, you know, I still think the Dominator was one of the best goalies ever. I mean, that guy could carry you on the back, and he did. He was something to watch. And but Brodeur, boy, he was.
Well, you think about goalies that you think – I think Hasek, I think Brodeur, I think Waugh.
Yeah, Patrick Waugh.
You know, that's –
yeah.
I mean, that's what I grew up, that generation, and those guys were just next level.
Yeah, boy, that's a heck of a three right there.
Yeah.
A monster right there. All right, last question. This is a good one. I like this one. If you could sit down and have any guest you wanted, having that steak, that big T-bone steak that you like off the grill, one person, whether he's passed on, he's still around, who would you like to have dinner with and just sit and shoot the shit with? Who would that person be and why?
I feel like I'm beating a drum here, but I'd still want to do with Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
I mean, not only was to me the greatest player that ever lived, but also I've heard some stories about Edmonton back in the day, and I'd love to what was true? Or I mean, you talk about interesting life. Like I don't know, everything about him is amazing. He was the greatest player ever. Then he went to LA and he lived the LA lifestyle. So I mean, you can pick that guy's brain forever.
Right.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
that would no brainer for me.
That would be it. Last question I want to ask you is, what advice you got for kids growing up, young kids playing hockey now? We have a lot of families who watch this. Hockey is huge, obviously, in this Rome, Utica area. What advice would you give them and their parents about kids growing up playing hockey today?
Well, the parents, I would say, make sure the kids are having fun and make sure they're doing a lot of things. Don't just focus on hockey. Yes, it's important. Make sure they work hard, but make sure they have time to do other stuff. Be a kid, have fun. For the kids, if you're going to do something, do it 110%. Make sure you work, but make sure it's fun and then do other things. Be a kid. Go outside, play different things, experiment with different things, enjoy yourself. But when you do something, have the right attitude, work as hard as you possibly can, listen to your coaches, and do it the right way. And then it's going to be fun. Like, that'll create a fun atmosphere for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nathan, I got to tell you, man, you got a great story. And, a lot of people don't realize, when they hear people bouncing back and forth, but people like you are a huge part of the organization for these young kids who are getting drafted and coming up, and with your experience and everything else. those are what those kids are coming up to the majors to play. And we're excited. And with your help, man, we appreciate guys like you.
Oh, thank you. I love what I do. I'm blessed. I'm lucky. I'm spoiled for what I do. So I just hope I want, just like you guys, I'm a Sabres fan too. This is going to work out. I truly believe it.
Yeah, I hope so. What do you see Nathan Paetsch doing in 10 years from now?
10 years from now, I don't know. I hope I want to be in hockey. I'll be in some kind of hockey situation. I mean, if it was my choice, I'd be in the Sabres organization in some capacity.
Yeah.
That would be my dream.
Awesome.
I hope that's possible. That would be definitely what I'd want to be involved in.
Right. Well, we hope so, man. We'll hope to keep you around and to be some part of the organization, man. We'd love to have you. So, guys, I want to thank Nathan Paetsch for being on our show tonight. Nathan, thank you, man, so much. Great story.
Thank you.
Appreciate you taking a little time of your day. Also, I want to thank our sponsors again. Before we close the show here, I want to thank Joey's at 307 in Utica, Matt Grabsky. Thank you so much. And also Geddes Bakery in North Syracuse, John Pappas and the family for being sponsored of today's show. We appreciate all you guys do for us and keeping us up and running. But Nathan, last thing, we have a wall of frames at my house where it's got pictures and autograph to the show from all our guests. I'm still waiting for a couple of them. But could we get a picture with you autographed for our show to hang on the wall?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Send me the address. It's on its way.
Yes, and stuff. And listen, man, keep in touch. When you come to Utica, let me know. I'd like to come down and check and see Sean and see you guys play and maybe get to meet you in person. And if we ever come out to Rochester to film a show, I'll hook you up and maybe you can come and be on the show there and eat some food with us.
I'd love that. And then you're going to have to tell me, we'll go eat it maybe in Utica too. I know there's some good food out there.
I got a couple places that we could hook you up. We'll get you some good food. We'll go grab some dinner when you come to town. Sound good?
Awesome. That sounds amazing.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. Guys, it was a great episode. Stay tuned. Next Monday, we have former Major League umpire Dale Scott joining us. A guy was in the major leagues for a lot of years. One of the most famous umpires, man. He's been in World Series, playoff, championship series. It's going to be a great conversation with Dale and hearing his story. But, guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay, please give it a share. Like our page at No Time for Nonsense, and you can watch this great episode with Nate. So, Nate, have a good night, man. We'll keep in touch. And thanks again for your time.
No, thank you. This is a lot of fun.
All right, man. You take care.
You too.